Toronto, Canada's largest city, used to be a global hub of culture, business, and innovation with a vibrant arts and food scene, but now it's rotting from within. Its iconic skyline still looks impressive from a distance, but get closer and you will find a city being destroyed by failed leadership, open drug use, exploding crime, and politicians who care more about identity politics and virtue signaling than fixing the streets. Let's dig in.
We love our city waterfront. It's a beautiful place to be.
Toronto, once Canada's crown jewel, is now ground zero for a drug crisis that's spiraling completely out of control. People are openly smoking fentanyl and shooting up on the TTC, the Toronto Transit Commission, making your daily commute and your kids' ride home from school increasingly unsafe. Regular citizens are having their safety violated just trying to get to work. Women feel unsafe. Families are avoiding public transit, and it's so bad, the city has formally acknowledged the crisis in official government communication. It's part of why we launched the website fixourcities.com as crime, chaos, and disorder descend on the streets across Canada. But do you know those endless performative land acknowledgements that we're all forced to sit through?
I'd like to acknowledge that we are gathered here on the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people.
I now wish to invite Cadets Flight Sergeant Minialov and Warrant Officer 2nd Class Rainford to share the land and ancestral acknowledgement with us.
We acknowledge the land we are meeting on as our traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat people, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13, signed with the Mississaugas of the Credit. We also acknowledge the Williams Treaties, signed with multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands.
We acknowledge all treaty peoples, including those who came here as settlers, as migrants, either in this generation or in generations past, and those who came here involuntarily, particularly those brought to these lands as a result of the transatlantic slave trade and slavery.
Well, Toronto City Hall recently added two more. One for African ancestors and another, Drug Toxicity Crisis Acknowledgement. Straight from their 2023 mental health strategy, they admit the tragic losses, which is fine, but then they blame that on systemic discrimination, stigma, racism, sexism, and colonialism. Not the flood of fentanyl poisoning our streets, not the open-air drug dealings, not the failed harm reduction experiments handing out pipes and needles while the bodies pile up, not the decriminalization policies that turned neighborhoods into zombie zones, and not the pharmaceutical companies or the doctors who spent years pushing opioids as a safe, low-risk pain treatment while downplaying just how highly addictive and dangerous they really are. Nope, instead they're gaslighting you, the taxpayer, the worker, the parent, for upholding the system.
We want safe subways. We want safe transit everywhere in the city. And if someone's using drugs or shooting up drugs on a subway, they need to be arrested and removed from the subway.
It's excuse making.
Do you understand people are scared to go on the subways right now? They do not feel safe on our subways. When you're sitting there and some guy's drugged out, he has a needle in his arm, jacking it into his arm, it's ridiculous. They need to get off the subways and make the subway the safest subways.
If you'd like to see real action on crime, on drugs, and on the chaos that failed policies and weak leadership have brought to our city streets, then please head to fixourcities.com and support our work so we can continue to expose the incompetence plaguing the political class. Sign our petition and support this work if you can at fixourcities.com.
No other government has put in $530 million to create heart hubs. Heart hubs that they're going to put a shelter over their heads. They're going to get them off drugs, give them as much help as possible, find them gainful employment. That's what we believe in.
And who's in charge while all this happens? Well, it's Mayor Olivia Chow, who got a 6.8% raise in 2025, pushing her salary over $240,000 a year, plus benefits. Board of Health Chair and City Councillor Chris Moyes pulling in nearly $212,000 a year, total compensation with sky-high expenses. They like to obsess over identity politics and more acknowledgements, while law-abiding Torontonians pay the price. Premier of Ontario Doug Ford talks tough, but the streets tell a different story.
Don't get me wrong, I have a great deal of respect for our judge of Supreme Court, but he comes out with this cockamamie idea that they're going to hold up an encampment, they're going to hold up transit. So for 30 people, they're going to hold up millions of riders, communities and everything, saying you can't go in there, you can't touch them. So guess what, folks? Anyone can show up in your backyard. I wish they'd show up in this judge's backyard and set up camp. It's the craziest thing I've ever heard. You can't move them on. We'll give them shelter and take care of these folks. But the judge is saying that we got to hold up projects and everything? I wish I could get that guy's address. I'll send 50 encampments in his backyard and see how he likes it.
Both levels of government have failed you. And Danielle Tate from Integrity TO shares the acknowledgement that these out-of-touch politicians will never read.
Okay, I'd like to start my deputation in a good way by acknowledging the people who fund this municipal enterprise, the Toronto taxpayer. Let's reflect and remember that every word spoken in this chamber, every light bulb, and every salary paid, including those of city councillors, is funded almost entirely by the hard work and earnings of taxpayers and property owners. Nearly all of the city's $18.9 billion budget comes directly from them. We acknowledge that while taxpayers and property owners have endured an almost 20% increase in the last 3 years, only a small and insulated group decides how much of their income is expropriated to sustain a burgeoning municipal bureaucracy that continues to grow regardless of outcomes and results. We pay respect to those taxpayers because without them, this institution could not indulge in ideological excesses like renaming streets and public squares, painting roads with inferior and environmentally damaging red paint, nor fund harm reduction programs that result in a steady stream of drug paraphernalia littering our streets, sidewalks, parks, and playgrounds. In this spirit of acknowledgement and with an eye to the future, we recognize the Toronto taxpayer and revere their tolerance for being taxed.
This acknowledgement, the 2024 report, and any politispeak that seems to come out of these people's mouths is just damage control for disastrous policies. Blame colonialism, not incompetence, and call concerned citizens bigots for wanting safe streets. Torontonians, are you fed up with guilt trips and performative nonsense while your city collapses?
That you're having a great time with kids in the playground or enjoying the cherry blossom that is really beautiful, or in the winter time, bike around or tobogganing down with your kids, and then the bathroom is closed. Well, it's now open. As of May 1st, it's open now.
Drop a like if you're done with this and subscribe to our channel if you want to see more reports like this one, and share this if you want Toronto and other city streets back. For Rebel News, I'm Tamara Ugolini.